whether we're coming out of poverty, whether we're struggling to get funding for all sorts of things, trying to get resources. And I guess for us that are in the hood, we know how to make small great.
This podcast is proudly supported by the Ōtara Network Action Committee, ōNAC, community-owned, community-driven and community-led.
Kia ora once again, welcome to the We Ōtara podcast. My name is Vincent Taro Vitalina, and I'm telling you my name so you know you'll be part of my family. So this podcast is brought to you by, I don't know, this amazing team, but this awesome team called ōNAC. So the Ōtara Network Action Committee, full of superheroes and superheroines. So if you ever get to see them, give them a high five and tell them you're doing a good job. So shout out to them. Now, there are living legends among Ōtara, and one of them is here today. You can hear him in the background too. He is one of the awesome supporters of Ōtara Scorpions as well as Ōtara. Willie Maea, is that right? Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Talofa. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. As always, I always like to ask my amazing guest about their journey. So if you can, just a short introduction of how did Willie start in New Zealand and how it went onwards?
Yeah, for sure. I guess it's just parents with visions. Parents are from Samoa, of course. We migrated here in the very early 70s, and it was just, in his words, just to improve the education of his kids. So there were 5 of us that came across, landed in Mangere Airport, spent an overnight on Preston Road with an auntie and uncle, and then went down to Tokoroa, where the work permit was. Stayed there for about 2 or 3 years and decided to come back up to Auckland. And while he's house hunting, the house that he chose was on Preston Road. So we've been there for nearly 50 years now. And I know one of your earlier guests, the mayor in waiting, spent some time on Preston Road. So there's some pretty famous people that have come out of there. And that's where we've been ever since. So went to Flatbush, which was only a 100-metre walk from where we stayed. Went across to Ferguson Intermediate. Spent a year at TC. Misbehaved, so my dad sent me to Pepto High with my older brother. Good memories there because that's where I met my wife, and we've been together ever since. So I have one son, Kyle, and he has 5 sons, plus one on the way. So the family is expanding. So I guess that's me. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. First and foremost, TC Hut.
TC Hut.
So I don't live too far from Flatbush Primary School as well. So I'm also alumni from Flatbush Primary School as well. I don't live too far from Preston Road, so I'm like about a block away from it. So my street's not too far. Also, congratulations on your next grandson as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So I noticed that when I did my research about you, you're very youth driven, community driven, and you always have your beliefs behind our youngins in Ōtara. So I guess my first question is, what sort of work you have done with our youth here in Ōtara?
A lot of it is voluntary. It's just, I guess you're born with that heart to serve and to look after. From a big family, so you're looking after younger siblings. Always saw my parents serving, whether it's at church or whether the extended family. And so just by default, it we sort of went down that track as well. Working alongside as friends and doing things back in the day with, of course, the late Alan Va'a. He was youth driven. And so he sort of dragged us into a lot of the things that we did, and that sort of just stuck with us. So I guess it's in our heart, it's in our nature just to be able to help the younger ones coming through.
Absolutely. And one of the ways I notice is rugby. And rugby is a perfect example of our young ones taking in, because South Auckland has always been rugby centric. You know, we look at our greats like Eric Rush, who's come through, Jeremy Sisu as well, from TC as well. And when you, I want you to take the word Scorpions. What would it be the first three words that you think about when you hear the word Scorpions?
Family orientated. I went into the Scorpion family, I guess, back in 2011. You know, ran into another living legend, Solo Suomasi, when we were both at the police together. And I asked that silly question, how's the Scorpions going? And next minute, I'm the chair of the Scorpions and have been there ever since, helping and sort of supporting and just driving things that, you know, will improve Scorpions family. Rugby league, of course, being the primary sport, and all the other sports that are at the park. Yeah.
So when you say other sports, you don't mind sharing what are the sports? Because someone might be hearing that they might be interested in this. Or
for sure. Like, it's always been there. Like, the Scorpions have been there for over 50 years. Yeah. Even though they were constituted in 1970. But there are other sports that were there. Of course, soccer went and found another base. So rugby league became that primary sport. Currently, we have Samoan Kirikiki, run by Auckland Pacific Kirikiki Association. Then we have two lots of tag. We have the New Zealand Tag Federation and Counties Manukau Tag. And then we have Samoa Tag. Then we have netball, Scorpions netball. We have Muay Thai Kickboxing Club, who have just got 6 young people into the New Zealand team. We have a card club, the Four Kings, and I think can't remember who else. Oh, we have Maris, you know, so again, rugby league and rugby, never be seen to share a park, but we do. We've invited Maris old boys in to use the facilities and utilize the space in between the winter and summer sports. So, yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Just going back to like one of the core subjects of the Scorpions is family orientated. Do you see a lot of parents going out there supporting their children, especially the bigger sports out there and on and off the field? Do you see that often?
Often, definitely. Like, we're just one example of what a whole lot of clubs do. You know, and I can say I think every sports club is a family-orientated club. Yeah. But, you know, very evident in the Scorpions, because we have wife or husband or partners that are coaching and managing, and then you have the family that comes in. You know, so we, as an example, we had we offered subsidized fees for multiple families, and then one family of 10, one family of 16, because you know, they're bringing all their families to the Scorpions. Yeah. And that's exciting for us, because the message there is that they're happy that they're in a safe, fun club that supports them in any way, and of course it progresses their kids. So that's family orientated.
Absolutely. And just hearing it, and I have a friend who is a mother of a Scorpion member by the name of Naomi, who I interviewed 3 episodes ago. Has a proud son by the name of Lijon, who plays for the Scorpions. You know, and I've been to a couple of the practices, and I see just this awesome feel of community feel and family feel. How would it work for someone to go into this family, into the Scorpions family, to join in? Because it's quite hard.
Yes, well, you just got to come and accept and get absorbed by it. Okay, you know, like we don't do nothing different to any other family. You know, we'll have our ups and downs, but the main thing is that the kids need to have fun. They need to feel safe. They need to be in an area that they feel welcome. So we got this new complex just opened last year. You know, and I always talk about the multiple doors it has is because we want to make people feel that they can just come, open up a door and just come inside. You know, we have these big rolling sliding doors, so that one wall is, you can, you know, you feel like you're outside when you're sitting inside. The one thing that we drive is, you know, and that's either through your code of conduct or just rules, is respect. Yeah. Okay. And however you come, whatever background or ethnicity that you have, just respect. Because at the end of the day, we just want to watch a game of rugby league. We want to administer a game of rugby league, and we want to see people prosper, whether they're a coach, a manager, or a trainer, but especially as players, so that they become our premiers and they stay, and they can say that I've been a Scorpion all my life. So that's the drive.
We'll talk about our childhoods. How was it like growing in Ōtara?
Yeah, interesting. Of course, you know, my first experience of New Zealand was down in Tokoroa for 2 or 3 years. Loved down there. Didn't want to move up when the decision was made. But it started from when we hopped off the bus in Hunters Corner in Piptoi, and me and my 2 other brothers, we had to walk from Hunters Corner to Preston Road. And just, I guess we walked past the town centre at the time, and what hit me was the diversity. It was just so vibrant. And then I guess going to school, and in that early 70s, there was a real strong gang element. But it's different from now, because back then everyone that was in the gang wore a patch. And so you saw that as they walked down the street or as they're driving around, or, you know, so that was the sort of the thing that I saw when I came into Ōtara. But I guess growing up in Ōtara, I never felt any danger or anything. You just felt that there was real closeness on the people. One is that we had a church that supported us. 2, school was just down the road, and there were some awesome teachers. And 3, you started making some really good friends that were around you, you know. And so you never saw I guess the dangers or the stereotyping that came from the outside of Ōtara. Yeah, you know. And now you still have the same gangs. They're still friends. They're still people that you grew up with, you know. But that's their choice, you know. And that's not for me to judge. Absolutely. You know, for me, I'll just be me, and they know where to find me and come and have a coffee.
What would you say to those who are in this field of work, especially in youth work? What advice would you give to them because I know during these hard times, a lot of our youth are looking towards for some help, and I know there are certain people out there who are looking to help these youth. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, reach out, and of course, those that are working with young people, don't expect rewards. Okay, go in there with an open heart, a clean heart, and just willing to serve. Because no one gets rich. Okay, and the main thing is that also look for your own support around it, because you're going to take on a lot of things that is going to get you down or make you feel uneasy. But you know, that's life. We have to accept it, because that's the environment that we're in. Okay.
Absolutely. And I like how you touched on your own well-being. What is it that you do? Because I know that a lot of people do tend to, and I don't like using this word, this is quite an ugly word, burn out. What is it that you do sometimes to make yourself feel invigorated, and you remind yourself to keep on working in the things that you do?
Find some good people. Okay, so one of my best friends, of course, is my wife, and she mocks with the best of them. And so laughter, you know, we offload, you know, and we turn things that are not so nice into a bit of a joke, you know. She tells me to get over myself, you know, and keep my feet on the ground. And also just the wider friends, you know, there's a circle of friends that you can go and offload to, and they'll give you good advice. You know, and you can laugh about it, but they'll keep you in check, and they'll make sure that you're okay. One of those friends was, of course, my friend Al. he'll always sort of throw a text or, every time I see him, he'll always check on me, and there's always that, like you don't see a close friend for years, but when you do see them, it's like the time hasn't lapsed. Now, those are the friends you stay in touch with. Those are the ones that will get you through. And of course, just having the knowledge of who you can reach out to if it's a bit more intense.
Absolutely. And just hearing that is because I suffer from my own burnouts as well. And just hearing that, it just confirms that, you need that support system. And I believe that support system should also be reflected off on our youth, because they do carry a lot of weight, especially amongst our community, and it's great to have people like yourself and Sully as well. Just, it's what I often don't see is, because I was quite privileged with my family. They're very strong-headed, but then I see my mates struggle. But then you have, like, again, you go back to the Alan Vars and Maea, and they're going towards them. And every time when I go to a nearby park, like Ngāti Ōtara or the nearby park in Tupu Library, you see their big smiles because they're around someone that's positive. Like you said, it's awesome to see and to hear every time when a good piece of news is out there and Ōtara celebrates about it.
Yeah. And I think the most important thing too is that you just stay in your lane. Hey, stay in your lane, stay at what you're good at, and do that really well.
Yeah.
For me, I've chosen this path of looking after the Scorpions and all the clubs that are with at the complex, and that's where I stay. If I'm asked to help with young people outside of the sports, I'll do that. By using my knowledge of what I've learned. But I leave that to the Sullys. I left that to the Allens. I left that to all the other youth workers that are out there.
Yeah.
Because that's their expertise, and I'll just make sure I do me and do it well. And the team that I have around the Scorpions, right? It's a tight team, and we do things that we're proud of, with no agendas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always like to wrap up things with my guests with words of, like, golden words. I always like to have them say golden words because it's always outreaching. So what piece of advice or quote that you like to share to those who are listening today?
I think there's something I just sort of picked up recently, and I guess it comes out of the struggles that we have, whether we're coming out of poverty, whether we're struggling to get funding for all sorts of things, trying to get resources. And I guess for us that are in the hood, we know how to make small great. Yeah, so I think I'll leave you with that.
Again, Willie, thank you so much. When we started, you were saying that you're going to be nervous. You were natural.
Thank you.
Like everyone in Ōtara, they are naturally talented. And we were born from greatness, and we will always strive for greatness. So
sure, bro.
Thank you again, and thank you once more.
Thanks, Vinny.
Again, thank you for an amazing viewers out there who are watching. I hope you enjoy it. That is ōtara Podcast. And once again, thank you so much for watching. Say bye, Will.
Bye.